and welcome to Torsey Waldridge Kitchen Gardener. Today's video is on microgreens. Microgreens are absolutely fantastic. They're a really great crop that you can grow all year round. You don't really need a lot of equipment and you don't need a lot of space, so this makes it ideal for people that are maybe growing inside a house where you don't have an outside area, and it will help to keep your costs down on salad crops that you buy from the supermarket. It'll all be organic because you don't use any sprays on it. It'll be fresh, you can cut it whenever you want to, so it's a fantastic crop. It keeps me going throughout the winter months. It also changes, so I don't grow through the summer months because there's an abundance of salad crops I can grow outside, but during the winter months when the crops can get, you know, really dirty from the rain and you want to grow those lovely beautiful tender leaves, unless I've got a really special event that I have to cater for, I won't be growing microgreens throughout the summer months, but throughout the winter it is absolutely amazing what you can do, and such a vast array of different seeds, so you know you're not then confined to what you have to buy in the supermarkets. You can go through your seed magazines and pick out flavours and herbs and whatever you want to grow to go with the dishes that you're doing, so you've got a huge amount of scope when you're growing your microgreens. When you're sowing and growing your microgreens, you don't actually need a vast amount of equipment. All you will need is obviously your trays, like I spoke about before, cedar modular compost. I add quite a lot of vermiculite. That just puts air and lets the roots of your microgreens grow nice and easy, especially if you're not in a particularly well ventilated area, or if you're growing throughout the winter months. Your glass house is going to be closed quite a lot and there's not a lot of air circulation going around, and botrytis is a massive problem when you are growing microgreens because the seeds are a lot closer than what you would normally sow any other seedlings, so you do have to bear that in mind. So like I say, I just add quite a vast quantity of perlite, a ratio of 80% cedar modular to 20% perlite, but that mix works for me. You guys can trial things at home and do whatever works for you at home. This is just the way that I grow my microgreens. Other people do it differently, so just trial things and see, like I say all the time, see what works for you and stick with it when it does work. These are my 5 top microgreens that you guys can be sowing at home. So this is based on quick harvesting from once you've sown it to when you're harvesting it. Some of these can take literally 2 weeks before you're harvesting, which is absolutely ideal. And also I've picked out the ones that are least problematic, so they will be nice and easy to sow and you'll be harvesting them and you shouldn't have any problems with the crop whatsoever. My suppliers that I get my seeds from are Mole Seeds and CN Seeds. CN Seeds are quite expensive, but they have a massive range, so if you're looking for something completely different, then they are perfect to go through. And also as well, don't ever underestimate how many seeds you might get through when you're sowing microgreens, so you do want to look at large quantities. But like I say, the more you experiment, the more you'll find out, and then you'll work out what works for you and what quantities you need to buy in to see you through however long you'll be sowing your crops for. Radish Rambo is one of my favourite microgreens. This is, from sowing to harvesting, is 2 weeks, which is absolutely ideal. That is a crazy short amount of time for something to grow. You literally let the 2 baby leaves grow and you harvest it. It's a beautiful purpley pinky colour, so that adds so much vibrancy to any salad. You know, even if you just cut them and use them as a garnish on the top of a salad, absolutely amazing. You don't let these grow anywhere near full maturity. As soon as those true leaves come through, they have hairs on them and they're absolutely awful to eat. So that is a fantastically quick cropper. I've got a massive bag of pea sprouts. So pea sprouts, you can use any seeds for microgreens with the pea sprouts, but if you do buy a microgreen pea, then you'll find that you get the tendrils and they're a little bit prettier. But if you're not worried about that, then any peas will do for that job. They're really easy to sow and grow. and they're a quick cropper, so you can have these ready in about a week and a half. They'll be ready to cut and garnish or add to foods, do whatever you fancy with them. Spicy mix, I like the spicy mix, so it's just a spicy mix, baby salad leaf, spicy in flavour, good colours and textures with that one. If you like kale and you like baby kales, Red Ruble is absolutely beautiful. It's got this lovely maroony glossy leaf, so yet again it's absolutely stunning, and you just have them as small baby leaves. So you get your seed leaves, then you get your true leaves. Once your true leaves have come out, then you can harvest them, and they are absolutely delightful, absolutely brilliant with a Greek kale salad, and the colours are wonderful. And I've got mustard red, which is yet again like a spicy leaf. It's beautiful, it's got a lovely jaggedy edge around the leaf with beautiful red green veins to the leaf. So you know, I think this is the lovely thing about the microgreens, is that you get so much colour, so much texture and so much more flavour than the mixed bags of salad that you can buy in the supermarket. So you know, the world's your oyster with microgreens, and like I say, they are so easy to sow and grow, and you don't need a vast amount of space, and you can do it at home, which makes them absolutely ideal for anybody who wants to do any kind of gardening. I'm now going to take you guys through my sowing techniques. So if you've never done this before, this will be really handy. It's slightly different to sowing normal seeds, but I will run through all of that in just a moment. The only other thing I will say, I weigh my seeds out as teaspoons, half teaspoons, tablespoons. That's just so I don't overcrowd my trays with seeds. They do need air circulation, even though they're only in the trays for a very short amount of time. It's really important that you don't get disease that sets in, like botrytis, that can really wipe out a whole tray of whatever you've sown. So that's quite important. Like I said before, I will put everything on the link below, from measurements, seeds, compost, any kind of equipment that we need, and you can find that there. So let's get cracking with a bit of microgreen seed sowing. I just take my full-size seed tray and I fill it with my seed and modular. This piece of wood is absolutely brilliant just for getting a nice good level. I then bang the compost down. That just compacts it slightly, and just, I'm not applying too much pressure because obviously the seeds are going to go on the top, so you want sort of quite an openy soil, so you don't want to push down on it. I just tap the tray. I'm going to be sowing Radish Rambo, of which I do a tablespoon to each side, and I just sprinkle them. I find putting it into a jam jar lid is quite good for getting an even sprinkle over the top of your compost. I'm happy with that. And then I'll turn it round. The reason that I put my bit of wood, or leave an inch gap in the middle, is purely to help ventilation, so you get that air movement going through your tray. If you're sowing on smaller trays, this wouldn't necessarily apply. If you do get botrytis, it is quite handy if you can obviously create air movement through your seed tray. I grow in vast quantities, and there's a lot of microgreens all in a very small space. I then get another seed tray, which I then place over the top and squash down. You want that seed soil contact. That's really important for good germination. And then that's nicely packed down. I do find with Radish Rambo, because of the size of the seed, it can dry out quite quickly on the surface of the compost. So with quite a few of my seeds as well, I do just like to sprinkle over the top a bit of vermiculite, and that just helps it germinate equally in the seed tray. And there you have your seed tray finished. I will now write a label for this, date it, and it will get shipped into the glass house. But if you guys at home have got your windowsill, then just plop it on your windowsill and away you go. Oh, also as well, I will be watering it. With watering, I always water from the bottom. That's purely so I find if you water from the top, obviously it can splash the seeds around. Some of the seeds are really fine. The vermiculite can go everywhere. So if you put it into a tray of water, then as soon as the top surface is damp, and you can see because it will change colour, you know that that is good to go. And just keep it, don't keep it sodden wet, and don't let it dry out too much, and everything will be perfect from there. I'm now going to sow my pea shoots. So with my pea shoots, I don't actually fill the compost right up to the top of the tray. I just put a little bit in the bottom, and I don't actually put a divider in the middle either, purely because your pea shoots just don't need it. And all I do is just sprinkle them over the top of the surface of the soil. Give it a little shake around so none of the peas are sitting on top of each other. And then the same as before with the radish, I just put quite a thick layer of vermiculite over the top. That will keep the seed moist as before. Also as well, I find with vermiculite, so if you decide that you put compost over the top, you will find that you create platelets. So as your seedlings are coming up, the soil sits over the top, and you know, you've then got to bang your tray to get the compost to fall down by the roots. Obviously the roots of the seedlings are slightly more exposed, so I find with vermiculite it's a very clean way of growing microgreens, because the vermiculite stays where it is, the seedlings will go through and you can cut them, and it's a nice clean way of working. So there's your pea shoots done. And obviously with pea shoots I find you use a bit more vermiculite but less of the seed and modular compost. I'm now going to sow kale, red ruble. So if you are kale lovers, this is definitely a crop to be sowing and growing. And the red ruble variety is absolutely beautiful. You can use any kales. Some seeds are slightly better for microgreens or baby crops, so always go with a recommendation if they're good for that. But you know, if you've got an old seed packet that you want to get rid of, or old seed that you need to use up, then doing it this way is perfect. So these are a slightly smaller seed, so you don't want to overcrowd these too much. I just sprinkle it on the top of the surface. You guys over time will come to know what's too much, or maybe if you sow too little. Like I said, I will put measurements on the list down below. Push that down nice and firm. And this will apply to your salad crops. Any smaller seedlings, this method works completely fine. And then the same again, just sprinkle your vermiculite over the top. These seedlings don't need a vast quantity of vermiculite over the top of them, just enough to keep the top of the seed slightly damp. And like I say, it keeps your microgreens nice and clean, especially when you come to cutting them. And that is that. This is Kale, Red Ruble, beautiful crop. And I obviously recommended the spicy mix, but same principles apply to that and any of the smaller seedlings. So there you guys have it. It's a pretty simple and easy way of doing it. I hope this video's helped. I will give you a really quick tour of the microgreens that I've grown in the glass house, especially relevant to the crops that we've sown today, just to give you an idea of what they will look like, and obviously if you sow in a large tray, how much of a quantity you get. Normally from one large tray like that, I will get 100 grams of a crop. Obviously, all depending on size, the Radish Rambo, they're a slightly bigger leaf, so they weigh in slightly more, about 150 grams. But most of the salad crops on a large seed tray be around 100 grams. If you do leave them for longer to mature into bigger leaf, you will find that obviously the weights will change and you'll get slightly more for what you're growing. But that again is down to you. Trial and error, see what works for you, see how you prefer your microgreens, if you want them as, baby seed leaves, if you want them to grow a true leaf. Give it a go, have a play around and see how you get on. So let's go and have a quick tour of the glass house. These are my lovely microgreens that I have been growing. So if I start you guys at the beginning, so this is Radish Rambo. Like I said, it's a beautiful purpley green pinky leaf, absolutely beautiful. It's quite a nice tall growing crop, and they are ready now to be harvested. So I'll be harvesting them this week, and they're absolutely beautiful. And then if I come over here, so this is the pea shoots. So these pea shoots are from CN Seeds. So as I said to you, you get like these lovely tendrily bits growing quite low down towards the seed. If you do just get a normal pea seed, you won't necessarily get these tendrily bits unless they're, quite grown high. But, that's up to you guys what you want to do and what you want to try out. So that could potentially be ready for harvest this week, or you can leave it for next week and those tendrils will have really started to spiral. And here we've got, this is the Kale, Red Ruble. So it is only just starting to grow its true leaves. So I think that's got about another week. But yet again, you can harvest that now. It's beautiful, dense foliage. Really nice and easy to grow. I absolutely love that. As always, thanks guys for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please feel free to ask me any questions, and I will see you guys on the next video. Until then, take care and happy sowing.